getting dumped right here. Now I want half of them to go to this carpenter workshop, and I want half of them to go to my wood furnace on the other side of my fort. That is a lot more complicated. Still possible. So an ABC is, our A is our wood here. So the wood crafts come out here. That is furniture. All but cages is furniture. You got wood chairs, wood barrels, wood bins. Okay, that's going to get loaded into this cart that I have on this track. Now it's going to go here. It's going to go down this, and it's going to swing around, dump here, come to another stop, and get loaded with, from my mason's workshop, all of my mason's furniture. Now this is a good time to go ahead and stop and talk about depart conditions. So your roots are in H, by the way. That is a new key from this menu, H. So we're going to talk about our furniture. Now our stone stockpile, for example, right here, being highlighted, is told to head east, be on its way, when full. So what this means is if it is full of wood crafts, wood furniture before it ever gets here, it's not even going to stop. It's going to just keep on going. As a matter of fact, the dwarf that brought it here is not even going to realize there was an interruption. He's going to push it all the way through. Now if it's not full, it's going to immediately come to a stop, and it's going to wait until it either is full of stone furniture or it has been at this stop for a total of 10 days, in which case the condition always is going to tell it that it needs to have a hauling job and sent along its way. So it is now going to go up this ramp, around here, up, over, up, and ta-da, to our dump. And our dump is going to push it into a quantum furniture stockpile. Now look at all that furniture. I've got doors in here. I've got my wood beds in here. I've got all sorts of stuff. And all that I had to do is I just had to create a stockpile that's just furniture, that's a single square. Now if I had made this a 3x3, it would still quantum on that one square. That doesn't matter. It doesn't know how to spread it out, because every single thing in that stack is perfectly content that it is in a stockpile. So if you don't want a quantum, if you feel that quantum is an exploit, I used to feel quantuming was an exploit because it used to be workarounds how you got a quantum, but Minecarts appear to naturally quantum, so I'm starting to get the impression that maybe Tarn doesn't mind right now. So maybe he's just giving us the chance to adjust to this. So I'm quantuming. The way to avoid that is to put a dump here, or dump it into this quantum stockpile and tell this quantum stockpile to give to another stockpile and give it to a larger stockpile. Because if you don't put a stockpile there at all of that stuff will get picked back up and taken back to one of these to start the whole process over. Okay? So, track stops. I've told you how to build this. Now, I've told you how it works. Now, how do you build these? B, capital C for construct, track. That's how you build your tracks. You have to build your tracks first. You can also designate tracks, similar to designating fortifications. If you'd prefer to carve tracks into the ground. I prefer built ones for my own reasons, but that's, once again, another discussion for another day. So, now that you've built the tracks, track stops must go on top of an existing track. Okay, you can't just build a track stop in nothing. Now, track stops have a couple different settings. So friction is the applied friction that I was discussing. I don't know if that was earlier today, but highest is going to bring any cart of any velocity to a stop. Now everything below that is going to merely slow it down by basically it's arguable whether it's a percentage or a flat amount or how Tarn has implemented it, but basically you're going to be slowing it down for the purpose of making turns, or maybe you're just not comfortable with it going that fast through a trafficked area, whatever. And 34.0, it didn't work to have them on lower frictions, but 34.11 it it said it does. I have not played with those at all, with the friction settings. I have things either stopping or going. If I want it to go slower, then I just let it coast. So then the next setting there is dump on arrival. Now, this, just like bridges, defaults to no. Okay, bridges default to disappearing when turned off. This defaults, everything in Dwarf Fortress generally defaults to a less intrusive condition. So if you just build a track stop, it's going to just bring it to a stop and allow you to create a route stop there and have loading conditions. On the other hand, sometimes you want your stops to dump, creating these quantum stockpiles. So you're going to push D until you have the direction you want. Being aware that if you set one of these to dump, if I had set this to dump south, every time they loaded it, it would just immediately have dumped right back in there. So you don't want dump on any stockpile that you're going to be loading. And I know there's a few people who have found out ways to use dump to maybe dump off food and then pick up wood. So if you're changing types of materials, there are ways to work that around. I have not played with those yet. I am still building each route for a specific material. I have not really started to take advantage of building multiple. So I'm still chaining a series of routes to get a job done, because I kind of think everything in my mind requires a conversion. I drop off a raw material, it must pass through a workshop and be converted into something else. So I haven't really kind of thought of, okay, this is just a trade, and so we're literally going to drop something off and pick something up, and it's going to be ready. So I guess if your workshops can get ahead, then you can actually be more efficient that way. So that being said, I think that's kind of a basic overview of Minecarts. It is now 7:30, so I guess who's going to be here is going to be here. Do any of you have any questions on what I did just discuss? Waiting on my 30-second delay from connecting to Twitch. Are you guys just gonna lurk in my channel here and just listen? Okay, that's fine. Then I will go ahead and get moving on. Says there's more people viewing me than I'm seeing in chat. Okay. So to start today off, for those of you just joining us, the plan here is to create a dwarven water reactor, an underground, completely isolated power source that runs on water in a small perpetuated loop. So in simple words, we are going to pump water up onto a surface, let it cascade down over 2 water wheels, which will then generate enough power to pump the water back up out of the reservoir that they fell down into. And it's just going to keep pumping and pumping and pumping. So that being said, we've started by digging an access tunnel down here. Now, we will need an access tunnel up here. I'm going to try to be a little less intrusive with this one because this floor is designated for, I am trying to save it for minecart tunnels, and that way I don't have to go back and build walls. You want walls around each turn because, like right here, for example, when it hits that going fast, these walls are what pushes it around the corner and keeps it from derailing. Now, I have read that if you get it going fast enough, well beyond terminal velocity, even these walls will not keep it from just slamming into this wall and dumping all of its crap. Okay. So we'll go down here. We'll get up. We're going to build ourselves lots of access. I don't mind building walls. I don't generally think enough ahead with my designations, especially when people are watching. Okay. Okay. So we have that set. That's going to get us to our water source. Let this guy kind of mine that out. And meanwhile, there's going to be this other shaft that we've set up down here. We are going to need to create a reservoir tank. Just for our own purposes, because I prefer to be off of the main water source, because there's mean things in there like giant carp and the water freezes, and there's all sorts of reasons that you would want to be kind of effectively off the grid. So what the plan is here is we're going to let the water in off the river, down this channel, and into this nice, beautiful tank that we're building. And that tank should be more than big enough. You don't want to make it too big or the water will evaporate faster than it can fill, which maybe we'll probably just go with that for now. Okay, now off of this tank, I am going to build what I call, I don't even remember what me and a friend ended up calling them, but basically my dud floodgates. Now what these are is I have no idea what uses this place will have for water, but I do know that I am going to want water, and I'm going to want access to water, and I'm not going to want to have to go through this exercise again of going outside, especially after I draw more and more sieges, just to get fresh water when I already have it kind of built in. So in each of those, I am going to build, if I can count, I'm going to build a floodgate, and I'm going to connect that floodgate out in this main path to a lever. And that lever is going to allow us later to kind of connect pipes up like that. Okay? That way this reservoir functions as a reservoir for all of time. If it's not big enough, then we can make a bigger reservoir off of the primary reservoir. And that way, anytime we use up the water in here, we only have to worry about refilling this, which we can do through here, which we will have an access room that pulls that and allows things in here. Okay? So that being said, one of these is going to go ahead and need to connect up to our power plant. When in doubt, always build a failsafe. So we're going to build our power plant right here on this floor. It's perfectly great for that. I do need to get up away from this path. Okay, so we'll build it up and to the left. So the water's going to come in here, and it's going to turn. We're going to actually touch another floodgate here in case we want to make a row of these, for whatever room is left there. It's going to turn. It's going to enter this, and it is going to make the shape that the water wheel needs to be, which is why I need that reference image up. Okay.